Yay! By now I have lost track of how many chapters I've actually read because, as you'll notice, he doesn't number this shit. So I'm making this up as I go along as far as chapter numbers go. I believe we're at chapter number 18. I don't really know. I don't even think I care anymore. Point is, I have this much left. I have this many pages. Okay. Yay! Exactly. Yay me. Let's do this. In which Jack and Sarah go to the roof, and he finds out it's the same sun as here. Some morning, Sarah Jacobs, David's sister, because none of us apparently knew that since she hasn't been around since chapter fucking 1, would wake early to watch the sunrise and reflect on her life. She didn't set an alarm clock. She simply whispered to herself as she was falling asleep how nice it would be to see the sunrise, and a built-in clock would wake her at just the right time.
How nice it must be to be her.
Well, is she like secretly a Disney princess or something? Because that's what happens when you're a Disney princess.
She is.
Sarah Jacobs, I'm sorry, you're not a Disney princess. As much as some people would like you to be, you're not. Soon her father and brothers would be up, and she would have to help Esther prepare their breakfast and clean up. There would be the then there would be the piecework all day long, stitching lace so fine it made your eyes ache, shopping for groceries, making dinner, more cleaning up, and putting the boys to bed. I'm pretty sure David can put himself to bed. Like
a year younger than her?
Yeah. No, she's younger than him.
Is she? I thought she was...
Yes, she's younger than him. So what the fuck is she putting him to bed for unless she's putting him to bed?
Well, you never know with the two of them.
I know. Whatever. No sooner did her head touch the pillow than she was asleep. Oh wait, I skipped a sentence. By the day's end, she was so exhausted that she could do little more than stagger to her bed. No sooner did her head touch the pillow than she was asleep. Yeah, that one's really bad too. We're talking about the Hairspray novel, people. That's horrible. But now she was wide awake, all alone, with no responsibilities, free to let her mind wander where it would. No wonder it was her favorite time of day. She opened the window and took a deep breath of the sweet morning air. Then she started with surprise, because there, huddled in the corner of the fire escape, was Jack, watching her with that look of amusement he often assumed. "Morning," he said. He looked exhausted. "Have you been there all night?" she asked, not holding the curtain up to her boobs. He nodded. "You're not in trouble with the police, are you?" she asked with concern. "Not exactly. A man named Snyder is looking for me. I've got to lay low for a while." "You should have woken me up. You could have slept on the couch." "Didn't want to disturb nobody. I'll bring you some breakfast. Meet me up on the roof." A few minutes later she arrived on the roof wearing a shawl over her nightgown and carrying a few thick slices of bread and a bottle of milk. Jack sat on the stone cornice. I've never heard the word cornice before until today. Fucking weird. Eating ravenously. Beyond him, boats and barges drifted slowly down the East River, bound for points unknown. The sky was delicate as a watercolor, streaked with oranges and purples. "Papa's so proud of you and David," she said. He tells everybody about Jack Kelly, the strike leader who occasionally takes his meals with us. He says if the piano workers had a union, he wouldn't be out of work now. He's been talking about trying to organize them. I can't remember when I've seen him so excited. This is one strike leader, Jack said in between mouthfuls, who'll be glad when it's over. Then I'm bound for Santa Fe. Nothing to keep me here anymore. You ought to see it. Everything's bigger out there. The sky, the desert, even the sun. It's the same sun that shines here, Sarah said. She didn't know why, but she suddenly felt sad and angry with him. Ever since that evening, David brought him home for dinner. Every day had been filled with excitement. Now he was talking about going away. She didn't want to think about it. "I have to get ready for work," she announced. Jack realized, with a flood of emotion so complex that he couldn't begin to sort them out, that she didn't want him to go. What the hell? Whatever. He couldn't believe it because he felt so unworthy of any kind of love. Without even realizing what he was doing, he took her hand and turned her around to face him. Her hair, he noticed, was gathered in a loose chignon? It's like the half-bun thing. I had one in my hair for Halloween when I was a zombie. Whatever. With strands coming down free around her neck, and her skin was as fine as porcelain. "Sarah," he began uncertainly, "I ain't used to having people care whether I stay or go." Sarah's eyes lingered on Jack's face. She kissed him quickly, then broke off. Jack watched, dumbfounded, as she disappeared through the door that led down to her apartment. He gazed at the piece of bread in his hand as though he had never seen such a thing before, and tossed it to a pigeon that had landed near his left foot. Chapter 19, I believe, in which Joseph Pulitzer exerts the power of the press. That's the power of the press, Joe. Joseph Pulitzer found himself in the company of the August and the less August of the August with a not capital A and the less August. I don't even know what that means. That afternoon, among the August were Police Chief Devery and Mayor Van Wyck himself. Among the less August was Nigel Snyder, who, not daring to raise his voice or otherwise assert his presence in the company
Don't worry about it.
of such greatness, sat quietly and humbly in the corner, his knees pressed together, his fingers folded. Each of these men held a copy of the leaflet advertising a newsboy rally that promised to be the most sensational event in New York history. And as their meeting wore on, they proceeded, without quite knowing what they were doing, to twist, tear, and drip sweat on these leaflets, until soon they reassembled nothing so much as a field handkerchief at the end of a hard day of labor. I can't even comprehend that sentence right now. It makes no sense. Whatever. Of course, the city is very concerned that this event doesn't get out of hand, Mayor Van Wyck was reassuring Mr. Pulitzer. But can't we just run in and... We can't just run in and break it up, can we, Devery? Not without some legal cause, the police chief agreed. What they do inside of Irving Hall, that's their business. What happens in Irving Hall stays in Irving Hall. Yeah. Suppose, Pulitzer went on, that you found that the boy who was masterminding this rally, and the whole strike for that matter, is an escaped convict. You could break up the rally in order to arrest him, couldn't you? So as to make an example of him, Chief Devery asked. Precisely, Pulitzer said. Snyder, tell the mayor and the police chief what you've discovered. There was a boy named Francis Sullivan, Snyder began, rising from his chair and shuffling into the light. A very bad boy, I might add, who escaped from the refuge some time ago, despite my vigilance. I've been tirelessly tracking him, searching for him in every back alley and byway. Wow. Rare is the time I walk down the street, even if I am just on my way to the fruit stand for an apple or the baker's for a loaf of bread, that I don't spend a few minutes looking for the boy. Why, one time I walked 10 blocks out of my way to... Yes, Snyder, the mayor said. We're all convinced of your devotion to your work. Now please get on with it. Sorry. Well, the New York Sun was sitting on my desk, a picture of those troublesome newsboys on the front page, something Mr. Pulitzer would never print in a fine newspaper like The World. I usually read The World, you see, but somebody had left the Sun in the waiting room, and I thought, well, a penny saved is a penny... Get on with it, please, Pulitzer said. Of course. One of my boys was in my office chatting with me and having a treat of cocoa and graham crackers when he noticed the picture. Cocoa and graham crackers? That sounds quite pleasant. I would love a snack of cocoa and graham crackers. There's Jack Kelly, he said, pointing at the picture of the boy I knew to be Francis Sullivan. So I said to myself...
Self?
To make a long story short, Pulitzer interrupted, Jack Kelly is the same boy who escaped from the refuge. Thus you have every right to charge in, break up the rally, and have him arrested. Show that scruffy lot what happens to those who try to tangle with Joseph Pulitzer. Do you understand? By policemen, aren't you personal militia, Pulitzer, the mayor said. I work for the people of the city of New York, and they're the ones I have to answer to. By the way, Pulitzer went on, I'm having a few friends over for cards tonight. Newspaper friends. Perhaps you'd care to join us. We could talk about the coming election. They've been wondering if you're the right man for a second term. I believe we could convince them that you are. Pulitzer offered a box of the finest Havana cigars to the mayor, who took one as though it were a medal, put it in his breast pocket, and said, for later. Then he turned to Devery and said, get that Jack Kelly boy when he's on stage so he can't get away. Make an example of him, and go in force, in case any of his friends should try to make trouble. Before he was leaving, the mayor turned back to Pulitzer. Who'd you say will be at your house tonight? Willie Hurst, Bennett of the Tribune, Taylor of the Times, and Gammon. You know Gammon? He owns the New York Sun. End of the chapter.